A new dawn is at hand. The secret has been snatched in the hands of the sordid. But one rises above all others. A blessed curse, the sweetness of the flame.
Number 1 is the almost most anticipated Metroidvania, Castlevania-inspired, even more gothic-themed upcoming game for the past 2 years, a Kickstarter project going by the name Last Faith, which is everything good about the Castlevania series mixed with the best of blasphemous in combat, with Souls-like elements and even more horror. Check it out. This game is now coming out October this year for PCs, Switch, and other consoles as well. Number 2 by New Core, same folks behind the old game I Am Zombie. We've got over here a brand new game called The Devil Within, Sadgats. I think I mentioned it once as a 2D, 3D style action adventure where you take on the role of a warrior who's been infected by some kind of demon blood. And so occasionally he just lets some of that out of his soul to deal with even more evil around him. Which is, you know. Here's a trailer. The game is coming to PC, Switch, and other consoles as well around fall.
パブロ、あなたのことはしっかりと見てるわよ、探偵さん。何せあなたにはこの世界を変えてしまうような特別な力があるのだから。
Coming from the same developers of the recently released 9 Years of Shadow, another Metroidvania here with less color, albeit more action and story-oriented in nature, a game called Mariachi Legends. This is a side-scrolling Metroidvania game set in Mexico where you play as a Mexican, of course, detective. Here's a trailer. This game is coming to PCs only sometime later this year. Coming up behind that from only 2 weeks ago, through its reveal trailer, we've got something called The Benzer and the Invisible World, which is also a side-scrolling platform adventure, kind of inspired by the Dickensians show, which is a little bit like the Sherlock Holmes. Here's a trailer. A Benzer and the Invisible World will release later this year, we're not sure when, but you can actually play it through a demo on Steam and other stores as well. Number 5, announced a couple of weeks ago, we've got over here a full gore Metroidvania cartoony, almost a beat 'em up, Streets of Rage style classic game called Cookie Cutter, which is actually described by its developers as a techno-pop punk to the hand-drawn Metroidvania set to the backdrop of a bleak and beautiful dying world where you play as a character called Sherry, this rage-driven android on a quest to rescue her beloved creator. Check it out, this game is coming to PCs only later this year.
Extraordinary spirits united to face the darkness.
Spirit of the Samurai, a Metroidvania action-adventure from roughly a year ago, which was supposedly a PC exclusive, is now coming to the next generation of consoles in addition to PCs, possibly by the end of the year. I've mentioned it before, maybe once, you can see it here, obviously set in feudal Japan, where you play as a samurai and a cat. The Spirit of the Samurai is actually going through a Kickstarter campaign, which has finally met all of its goals, and here's a new trailer, in case you missed it.
Three incredible warriors defying fate and even death. I, Kitsune, spirit of the forest, was a witness and a part of it.
Coming from Sweden, this one. A Metroidvania side-scrolling action-adventure scheduled to come out for PCs and the PlayStation consoles only. We've got at number 7, a game called Ultros, which is the only one today in the list that's got like a psychedelic theme to it. And at the same time feel like a Hollow Knight and Dead Cells had a baby together. Here's a trailer, the announcement trailer. The game is coming out sometime in 2024. Same PlayStation showcase that revealed Ultros, the previous game, we came across another side-scroller, a space opera Metroidvania game called Altered Alma. What its developers promised to combine the beloved classic Metroidvania formula with RPG elements, dating sim features, a slick pixel art presentation, and a gripping story. Anyway, the trailer here is a mix of story and gameplay. Right now the game is coming to PCs only, and probably consoles as well later on this year. Been in development for over 2 years now. At number 9 we have Chrono Rebirth. Following Chrono Origins and a demo that's sitting on Steam for over a year now, this is a high-bid action platformer, now a Metroidvania, that is set through 9 different stages, a bunch of puzzles and different types of mythical creatures to take down along the way. Chrono Rebirth is coming to PCs only and scheduled to come out February 2024. Animal Flux, on the other hand, described by its developers as a couch co-op Metroidvania where you play as two genetically enhanced soldiers or a duo of special agents of a theocratic dictatorial regime. This game sits sometime in the future and your job is just mostly fighting mutants through a desolate dystopian space city to hopefully save humanity. Yeah, Animal Flux is set to come out for PCs only later this year. Mention this one at a few good most anticipated games list so far, not only pixel art games, but again Crown Swords at the moment one of the most mind-blowing Kickstarter projects ever. It's sitting on a campaign with over $1.5 million of fund gathered, met all of its goals and set to be coming out for PCs and Switch only. Here's a trailer for those of you who missed it. This game was supposedly a substitute for Hollow Knight games, albeit set in a more grim atmosphere. Announced more than 2 years ago. I believe I mentioned this one last time a year ago, but it's finally back with a new trailer. In case you missed it, we've got Mandragora. You might be interested to know the folks in the team just announced the game is coming to basically all consoles and PCs upon release, maybe later this year. Hence, delivering a story-driven side-scroller action RPG in what they call today a Soulsvania. Check it out, make sure to stay tuned for a release date. Paradiso Guardian, then, another action RPG side-scroller, heavily inspired by the Castlevania series, a symphony of the night to be specific, as developers described, with visual novel elements and some Devil May Cry in characters. Not sure, but we heard it's gonna be released later in 2023. This is the first time we come across a gameplay trailer. There's a playable demo for the game on itch right now, and you can give it a try for free. Take a look.
名前ぐらい覚えろよ。はいはい。とりあえず侵入者の呼び出し手伝ってくれるよ。ヒッター。レンガ、お前なぜここに？どうかしてあげましょう。
Coming as the first work of its developers from a couple of months ago, we've got over here Obsidian Legion. This is a 2D action-adventure Metroidvania, kind of what you make by mixing Prince of Persia, the old one, and Dark Souls, or maybe a 2D Dark Souls and some really smooth graphics. I mean, not something as detailed as Blasphemous, but definitely a good attempt at that. Check it out. This game's set to be coming to PCs only sometime later this year. We hear. Sitting on Steam through a demo for a month now on Steam. Next up we've got over here A Sister's Journey, a very challenging, fast-paced action Metroidvania hand-drawn, almost open-world precision-based game, and one can almost say it's a mix of Castlevania with Super Meat Boy. Anyway, here's a trailer, game set to be coming to PCs only in a few months. Once again, with a demo sitting on Steam for over 2 years now, this one, and a new trailer here. Finally, we've got Astra Fading Stars. This is also a Souls-like action Metroidvania inspired by Ori, Hollow Knight, and some Japanese mythical inspirations. And oh, quite interestingly, it's got a randomly generated system, just like the Symphony of the Night. Check it out. This game's set to be coming to PCs only, we hear by the end of the year. And last but not least, from a little over half a year ago since announcement, we've got Venture to the Vile. Can't remember if we've mentioned it before, but it's a casual, narrative-driven 2D 3D action platformer, where not only you can go from left to right, just like traditional platformers, but also from front to back, just like Euden Chronicle 100 Heroes, like it's got depth. Here's a trailer, game set to be coming to PCs and all consoles and Switch included in the final quarter of 2023.
Born on the shoulders of 3 mighty statues, the resounding beat of a great heart could be heard emanating from the clouds. For the miracle was about to give birth to a child. A symbol in which all our faiths, pleas, and hopes might be united in communion.
This endless waiting has been my penance.